Yaser is in Roehampton. Hello, Yaser.
Hello.
Hello. How do you feel about this? If we went to presumed consent.
Well, I feel very, very sorry for that lady just now. I mean, our background, Margot, my daughter, has leukemia. Needed a bone marrow transplant, which bone marrow is the only organ, if you like, that replenishes itself. And so we went through an appeal for her, and this is really all about the philosophy of giving to help others, giving blood because you can't survive and be clinically well without that, giving bone marrow or stem cells as they're also called, and of course giving organs. And we had the conversation, my wife and I, she raised it with me initially, about whether Margot, before she passed away, and I was quite shocked when she raised this conversation with us, we had this conversation about whether we were to try and donate Margot's organs. It was initially, we thought, the cornea and perhaps the heart valves for another child in need. And I really struggled with that because she'd been through so much. We later found out, and this was misinformation initially, that actually you couldn't if you had a hematological disorder. But nevertheless, my wife and I have been through that conversation. And I think more families should try and understand what's involved and go through those conversations as well, because it will help for the inevitable. If the inevitable does happen, and we always believe it'll never happen to me, and then it does, you're left staring down at this thing. So I'm a big fan of donation, and I never was before, so I'm a convert. When you really find yourself in a time of need, and we did with an emergency scenario with Margot when she was 14 months old. She died at 2 years and 2 months old. So we had a rough year or more. But when you find yourself in a situation where you desperately need someone's help and you're relying on the benevolence and selflessness of the fellow man, and then these platelets turn up, which allowed her to stabilize her clotting function, and then the blood turns up, and then sometime later, a young man in Germany, is all we know, donated his stem cells, his bone marrow actually, for Margot. And that's why we campaign, Team Margot campaigns for more people to join the bone marrow register, but also blood, give platelets, and also organs. Your question is, do I agree? I would rather people have a positive decision made rather than a negative one. That may sound slightly at odds with everything I've just said, but I personally believe, and I think my sister's on hold, who has a different opinion from me, waiting to talk to you, Nadia, but I personally believe that I wish people would make their own mind up and become aware of this. Awareness is the first step, and then it's about taking action. Right now, there is a young girl called Lara, 24, who's a super character. She's one of these people who wants to change the world, who has mixed race, and your race and ethnicity matters if you need a bone marrow transplant or even hard organs as well. You need the same tissue type match. And she's desperate.
It is much tougher in that demographic, isn't it?
It's much harder. You have a 20% chance if you're mixed race or from the black, Asian and minority ethnic communities. So if any of this resonates with any of the listeners, get on to teammargot.com. We try to simplify, we're like a signpost for people to know where to go, depending on where they are in the world, to register as a potential bone marrow donor.
And of course, that's a living donation, isn't it? It's a bone marrow. It's a not a very nice little operation, but it won't hurt you for long.
Well, it's not an operation. It's just 9 times out of 10, it's like giving blood. You sit in a chair, they take blood from one arm, it goes through a filter which takes the stem cells out, and the blood minus the stem cells is returned to your other arm. 9 times out of 10, it's like giving blood, peripheral stem cell donation. There are some other injections involved in the days leading up to stimulate stem cell growth. But and then so people, there's so much misinformation. It's not about your spine. The 1 time out of 10 when they do take bone marrow, or the doctor prescribes for the patient bone marrow.
I thought it was the hip. Is it not your hip?
It's from the hip.
Yeah, so I thought it was the hip.
My friend who signed up because of Margot's appeal also give bone marrow, and so it's really not. And we have videos of her post for the next 10 days afterwards. You know, really, there's nothing more to report, is what she's saying. It was like having gone to the gym and perhaps done a bit too much on the on the machine. So really.
But can I just ask you, first of all, congratulations on the most brilliant name. I love the name Margot. It's a beautiful name. But did you go ahead with any donation from her? Or you couldn't in the end because of her medical condition?
No, Margot found what the doctors referred to as a suitable match. It wasn't a perfect match. We're mixed race. Mm-hmm. Bit of Syrian and Armenian and Thai and Scottish, and that's just on my side.
Oh, gosh.
English and New Zealand. So our children are from all over the place. But that makes it very difficult to find a matching tissue type or HLA, human leukocyte antigen match. Whereas if you're Caucasian, Northern European, then actually you've got a much better chance, a 69% chance of finding a 10 out of 10 match, as opposed to a 20% chance.
Wow, it's staggering, isn't it? I know that at Global here they have a drive every year to get people in from the black and ethnic minority groups to come in and be tested or to register for bone marrow donation. I know that happens every year here at Global. Remind us again of the website, can you, for Margot?
Well, teammargot.com. Margot has a T in it. My wife is just sort of signing to me to say, just make the point that we actually concluded that we would donate Margot's organs. Could we, if we could?
Yeah.
We felt strongly about it, but I have to say it was a very difficult conversation for me to stomach and for me to listen to. And I think it's a good thing for families to have those conversations. I think if it was me and I am signed up for giving it all away, I would be most upset if my family then decided to do something else.
Yeah, it's a very good point. Yes, it's been brilliant to talk to you. Team Margot with a T.com if you want to go and register there and get yourself on the list to be a bone marrow blood donor. 0345 6060 973 and text 84850 to join in on this conversation. This is LBC.